Would you like to dramatically improve the impact of your advertising? Well, it's all in the hook. Hi, I'm Randy Kirk. This is Small Business Daily. And today we're going to be talking about the hook. You've seen the hook. It's on practically every advertisement you see on television. It's on many of the things that you see on Facebook and on LinkedIn when you're scrolling down through the various things in your feed, your news feed. But how do you get that hook? How do you find the hook? How can you grab the person's attention quickly? Because in today's world, where so much material is being thrown at us that we make decisions quickly. Within 3 seconds, we decide, are we going to watch this? Or are we not going to watch this? Are we going to check this out more? Or are we not going to check it out more? I know personally, as I'm scrolling down on LinkedIn, which is my primary place to scroll, as I'm scrolling down, I'm looking for certain things. I'm looking for something that grabs my attention. Well, now, in a few minutes, I'm going to show you the best hook I've ever created, and maybe one of the best hooks of all time. We're using it with our clients right now. But what goes into deciding what makes a great hook? Well, obviously, it's got to be something, it's called today, something that would stop the scroll. You want to be able to stop the scroll. That becomes a great hook. If you're doing something in print advertising and people are turning the page, well, you want to be able to stop them from turning the page and going on. If it's something in a television program, it's something that grabs their attention at the beginning of a commercial so that they remain engaged during the commercial. You get the idea. So what can you do? Well, I've been around advertising for a very long time, and we used to say that if you wanted to get that hook, the visual thing that you could do would be have a pretty lady, you could have a baby, or you could have a puppy or a kitty. Well, we know that kittens and cats and funny cat videos are all the rage. We know that dogs do pretty well. And all of those things that I just mentioned still work today, but it's getting harder and harder because we're inundated with so much material. So let me give you this example that just knocked it out of the park. Now wait for it. Wait till you hear the sound that this Ghostbird makes. What you have just witnessed is one of the best hooks I have ever used in business. Hooks are critical to every kind of advertising and marketing that you do in business. I'd like to teach you more about how to use hooks. In order to do that, you need to come look at one of my videos on Small Business Daily. In fact, you should be a regular subscriber to Small Business Daily, but come on and check out the video on how to use hooks, and maybe you'll get hooked in. On Small Business Daily, we talk every day about things that will help you run your business, from marketing to sales, to how to hire, to how to fire, to how to run your processes and procedures, to bookkeeping, to accounting. We cover it all on Small Business Daily. And then we also have a great website. We'd love to have you come visit our website at freebusinesshelpnow.com. So if you would like to have your business get better and stronger, if you'd like to make more money, if you'd like to take more money home at the end of the month, and if you'd like to have more vacations, check out Small Business Daily and freebusinesshelpnow.com. That Ghostbird was responsible for getting me many people in my audience on Facebook at less than a penny a person. This is unprecedented. It is very common to have to pay 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cents per person to get a custom audience built using a short video like the one that you just saw. But that Ghostbird changed everything, and we got it for under a penny. How do you decide what might work and what might not work? Well, the truth is, it does take a lot of experimentation and a lot of trial and error. But it's easy enough to at least find out what kind of opening is likely to capture somebody's attention for 3 seconds. So when you're looking through LinkedIn and scrolling through, or you're looking on Facebook or on Instagram or on TikTok or anywhere else, pay attention to what's grabbing your attention. That's how I got the Ghostbird. I was scrolling through, that Ghostbird grabbed me. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. Then I wanted to know what it sounded like. It was an easy thing for me to say, I can take that information and I can go and use it. So unless it's copyrighted or unless there's some kind of a reason why you can't use material that you see, and that's a whole nother video someday, if you believe that it's okay, that it's safe for you to use, then you can grab stuff off the internet that is already attracting other people's attention. There's a million of them every day. Choosing those, selecting those, and then testing them is basically how you play the game. One of the things you want to avoid is just doing something that's clickbait. Now, if I'd run that same Ghostbird, and then I just, after the Ghostbird got done doing its sound, I started talking about something entirely different that had nothing to do with the Ghostbird, then you would say, oh, that was clickbait, and you'd be kind of put off. So it's very critical that whatever it is that you're going to use as the hook, you can somehow tie it in with what it is that you do, what it is that you're trying to say, what you want to say to the individual who's watching, your audience. So avoid clickbait, make sure it's a true hook. Now, it's almost always, almost 100% of the time, you're going to be able to take whatever the image is or whatever the short video is or whatever it is you're using for the hook. Almost all the time, you're going to be able to tie it into what you do. It just takes a few minutes to think it through. So take the few minutes to think it through. It is totally worth it. Now, then, when you've got a big success, you want to continue to do your A/B testing. You're still going to want to throw it up with different headlines, with different descriptions. You're going to maybe want to throw on a top third that has something to do with your business, or even a bottom third and a top third. You could use something like subtitles, which you can find in the description below. You could just click on that to go to subtitles. And when you go to subtitles, they'll provide you with a template. It has a top third and a bottom third already built in if you like. Then you can take the item that you're planning to use as your hook and put that in the center between those two stock elements. Now you're tying it in automatically, but you're still going to want to make sure that whatever you say after the run or after the image disappears is relatable. It's related, and it's not just clickbait. Okay, what happens when you get something really good? Well, what happens is now your cost of acquisition goes down. Now that could be in an ad, as we mentioned, it could be in print ads. It could be in any kind of advertising you do, your cost of acquisition goes down, because the hardest part of advertising is getting people to stop long enough to read your content or to listen to the rest of your chatter. Like now, if you're still here, it's because we got you in, okay? And then once you got in, the content that followed was interesting enough and important enough to you to continue to watch. That's all of advertising. If you get that part, then the rest of advertising is really just about placement. And yeah, there are some other things too, like competing for advertising space and how much you want to spend. Yes, there's a lot more. So if you do have good hooks and you do have great content that's interesting to the person you're trying to reach, you really have solved a big piece of the puzzle when it comes to advertising. Now, I want to recommend a great new book that I'm in the middle of reading. I haven't finished it yet, but I can already tell you it's extremely good. And it's called Hook Point: How to Stand Out in a 3-Second World. Now, that's also going to be linked in the description below. If you'd like to learn a lot more about how to design hooks, about how to figure out the right words to use, about how to find out the right images to grab, about how to combine those two and then add the content that flows and makes sense, then I'd highly recommend that you read this new book, Hook Point. And I'll be doing a full review of it maybe in another few weeks. So look for that review coming up. By the way, if you would like me to review other books, would you mention in the comments below about books that you might like me to review? And if you like this content, would you possibly subscribe and maybe hit the notify bell? Because we'd love to have you back on other days. Now, back to the whole idea of hooks. What you want to do now is once you've hooked in an audience, sometimes you're going to want to continue as you reach out to that audience to use some of the same ideas. So for instance, I used a very odd animal, an animal that made you look, okay? It worked for you, right? It made you look. You might want to, next time that you're reaching out to that audience again, you might want to use another odd animal, and maybe the third time and the fourth time. And each time you're reminding them, oh yeah, I know what Randy does. He uses this odd animal and I kind of liked it. And I'd like to know more about this odd animal. Or maybe you even go back to the Ghostbird. So you could throw the Ghostbird up again. And this time you could say, where does the Ghostbird live? Or something of that nature, so that I've already know how the Ghostbird looks. It's weird. I already know how it sounds. It's an amazing sound. But now Randy's going to take me a little deeper and show me a little bit more about this Ghostbird. Yeah, it was interesting last time. Maybe it'll be interesting again this time. So there's ways that you can use this as part of a continuity plan to continuously reach out to that same audience and slowly cause them to know, like, and trust you as a result of a Ghostbird of all things. Okay, so hooks. Sometimes your hook is going to tie into your normal mission statement. Maybe your mission is to get everybody to be more healthy by eating non-meats. What do they call these? The almost meats, or the meats that are made from plant matter. Maybe that's your mission. Maybe you have a website and things that are all dedicated to that, and you want people to go to that website. Well, so you want to go find a hook that's also going to maybe specifically tie into that. So maybe it's something to do with a cow that's thanking you, for going to non-meat products. That's certainly been done well by Chick-fil-A in their advertising. You can grab that. It's been working for them. It's so much a part of advertising is to see what's working for somebody else. So maybe you do grab a cow and you put the cow up, and the cow's saying, thank you so much for starting to buy Beyond Meat. Anyway, there's so many ways to do that, but your mission statement, or what you're all about, might be how you determine the hooks that you're going to use. You also might use something current, something that's really top of mind right this second. So right now, everybody's thinking about summer. They're thinking about where COVID's finally over, and people are going to travel again. So maybe your hook maybe the hook is related to something that has to do with travel or has to do with entertainment. And so you could throw up some really amazing beach scene. You could talk about that number one beach in the world, according to Reuters, or something like that. So you can use something that is really strongly related to what it is that you're trying to sell at that moment. But remember, the idea is to get people to stop. In particular, during the scroll seems to be the important one in today's world. So will that get them to stop, or do you need to do something more to get them to stop? Possibly on that beach scene, you could put a big splash at the top. What makes this the number one beach in the world? Now, the person, they stop. What makes that beach? It's a gorgeous beach. The surf is splashing against the rocks, and it's the fluffy clouds out in the distance. Whatever it is, the beach is amazing. And now you've coined a question They got to know, what is it about that beach that makes it number one? So these are different methods and approaches that you can use. And some of those are going to be described in that book, Hook Point, which you might want to grab. As I mentioned, the link is in the description below. So think about this as you are starting to contemplate any campaign. I don't care whether it's a website. Let me give you the example on websites. They say that when you get somebody to your website, they will decide in 3 seconds whether your headline and whatever they can see in terms of art is what they're looking for. So if in 3 seconds they decide, nope, this isn't what I was looking for, they're gone. They're off to something else. You have to make sure that your client, the one you're after, will know within 3 seconds that they've come to the right place. It's the same thing. It's a kind of hook, okay? If you're doing a trade show or a pop-up tent in a farmer's market, I mean, wherever you're in a physical situation, you still need a hook. You need to have a sign, or you need to have a roulette wheel where they're going to win money. You need something that's going to draw their attention from all of the other opportunities that they have around them and drag them into the booth. This is something I've done my entire life. I've had everything from clowns to full-on bicycle retail, 20 by 20 bicycle retail store with a shingle roof and mannequins in the window, and you could walk in and see how it was designed and laid out. You gotta have a hook if you want to get people to come into your booth, whether it's, as I say, a major trade show or whether it's the farmer's market. You got to have a hook if you're doing a weekend show. You're doing a weekend sale, or you're doing a grand opening. You're going to want to have searchlights. You might want to have a big balloon on the top of the building. When I do grand openings for my clients, I always attempt to have searchlights and a big balloon that's on top of the building or floating above the building. You need a hook. You need to grab attention. You need to get people in. I hope that this has been helpful to you. I know I've always used hook, but quite frankly, as I was reading the book, as I was beginning to read the book, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this my whole career, but I don't sometimes stop and think about how critical the hook is. We need to take that extra 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and really think through the hook. Maybe we need to get our group together. We need to get our top execs together. We need to get into a mastermind group and mastermind on what the hook should be. But we need to take the time to develop the hook, because a great hook will have a dramatic effect on how well you get people to do what you want them to do, to buy your products, to make you more money, so you can take more money home to your family, and so you have more time and more money for vacations. Remember, that's the point of Small Business Daily. We want you to have more vacations. And if you'd like to have more vacations, like what you heard today, subscribe, push notify. This is Randy Kirk. We'll see you tomorrow.